After a newsworthy week here in WWE, especially here on SmackDown Live, we welcome you tonight from the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado.
And Brandon, what a night we have. Looks like we're even going to kick off the SmackDown event with none other than Asuka.
The Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka, the longest reigning champion in NXT history, if you count the NXT Championship and the NXT Tag Team Championships. And she is looking to qualify for a spot in the Fatal 4-Way match at Backlash for the vacant SmackDown Women's Championship.
And you want to talk about somebody who is no stranger to gold. Asuka is easily one of the most fierce competitors, male or female, in the WWE pound for pound.
She sure is, man or woman. I certainly would not want to step in the ring with Asuka. I don't think any other woman would want to step in the ring with Asuka. But unfortunately, this is what Nikki Cross will have to go through if she wants to qualify for the Fatal 4-Way.
While that's not a number that's in her favor, she is not a stranger to that level of competition, and she's defended her own championship back down in NXT in triple threats and fatal 4-ways very successfully. So this is somebody who the champion should really watch out for, as she's coming.
And here is the Scottish-born Nikki Cross from Sanity, looking to qualify for the Fatal 4-Way at Backlash.
You want to talk about somebody who always seems to be off her rocker just slightly, is Nikki Cross from Sanity, but easily one of the most crafty individuals in the women's division.
She definitely is, and she has had her own shots at the NXT Women's Championship before in triple threats and fatal 4-ways, but came up short, of course, to Asuka, who was the NXT Women's Champion before she gave it up due to her being signed over to Team Blue.
Yeah, you want to talk about two women who know each other. There's a little bit of history here. Nikki Cross looking to prove that she is able to defeat the Empress of Tomorrow.
And this definitely should be a great matchup here tonight on SmackDown Live. We also have some first-round matchups coming up in the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Tournament, and our main event tonight of Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Chris Jericho.
And you want to talk about a wonderful, wonderful main event. Nakamura versus Jericho is truly a main event for any show, pay-per-view or otherwise.
The bell sounds and we are underway here with this qualifying matchup. And Nikki Cross getting it started right away with a clothesline to the Empress of Tomorrow. And Nikki Cross, what does she have planned here?
A straight jacket, shoulder breaker there, looks like neck breaker. Straight jacket, neck breaker from Nikki Cross to Asuka.
I think this is what any woman has to hope for when you're going up against Asuka. You got to try to build that momentum early, and that's what Nikki Cross is doing.
I say she knows Asuka very well. They've had quite the battle in NXT. And so she just knows she has to stay on top of Asuka, not let her really get out of the gate. Nikki Cross firing herself up in the corner there. Unfortunately, taking a little too much time, letting Asuka recover. And now here comes Asuka.
Yeah, that too much time to recover could possibly come back to bite Nikki Cross, as Asuka now on offense. Oh, what a kick! Kick right to the face and neck of Nikki Cross.
And Asuka very quickly returning to a very dominant position in this matchup.
And snap suplex as Asuka goes for the cover and she kicks out at 1. Asuka whips Nikki into the ropes and a beautiful, beautiful arm drag there from Asuka.
And Asuka is a very unorthodox but very sound, and she clearly knows what she's doing, using every part of her body offensively.
And coming off, misses the missile drop kick. What's Nikki Cross going to do next? She's going to have a neck breaker.
You know, for a second I really thought Asuka was going to counter that neck breaker, and it was looking like it was going to be a very dark time for Nikki Cross. But Cross has actually been able to maintain a little bit of control here over Asuka.
She absolutely has, and we saw a neck breaker just a moment ago, and now Nikki Cross with a backbreaker as Nikki goes for the cover, and Asuka wisely gets to the ropes to break it up.
And again, Asuka, a very both of these women actually in their own right, veterans of the ring. Nikki Cross with those headbutts, Asuka with that arm drag. And
Asuka, that's one thing you need to watch out for, are those stiff kicks from Asuka.
Say Asuka is just laying
another
in with the strikes.
And oh my goodness, he had another kick to the face there from Asuka.
That was a very...
And Asuka with Michinoku driver goes for the cover, and Nikki Cross kicks out.
And that was a very, very hard-hitting kick and a beautiful Michinoku driver. Asuka seems to be getting fired up, moving on all cylinders here. And wow. Again, you know, using every part of her body as a weapon.
Now Asuka going up to the top rope. What could she be thinking here? Waiting for Nikki Cross to get back up. And missile drop kick. She failed to land it earlier in the match, but now she finally did. And could Asuka be thinking the Asuka lock? No! Nikki Cross countered!
Looks like she was going for a straight kick, and Nikki Cross planting Asuka, going for that cover.
This will be a monumental upset, but Asuka kicks out at 2.5.
Nikki Cross showing off some power there, really planting Asuka, catching her off guard.
Absolutely. Now Nikki whips Asuka into the ropes. What a nice shoulder tackle. Counter there by Asuka. Asuka definitely being pushed to the limit here, wouldn't you say?
Asuka is definitely being taken to her limit by Nikki Cross, and if there's any woman on the roster who can push Asuka and who has pushed Asuka straight to her limit, it would be Nikki Cross. Oh!
And Nikki goes for the cover. And Asuka, oh, with a kick out at 2.5.
I'm not even sure that was a 2.5. That might have been a 2.95. I mean, Asuka literally barely getting her shoulder up before the count of that 3. Asuka's, the Empress of Tomorrow, is truly looking to be in some trouble here against Nikki Cross right now.
And you know, earlier we were alluding to Chris Jericho versus Shinsuke Nakamura here in the WWE Championship Tournament. Another match that we have looking forward to here tonight in the tournament is Bobby Roode taking on Johnny Gargano.
And you want to talk about two guys who have a lot to prove. Roode debuting a little sooner than Gargano, but...
Oh, what a nice perfect plex from Nikki Cross, and Asuka kicks out at 1.
No, as Roode is a former NXT World Heavyweight Champion, Gargano, a former tag team champion down in NXT. So, Johnny Wrestling has a lot to prove coming up to the main roster in terms of being a single competitor.
He absolutely does. And, oh man, what do these two women have left here? As Asuka puts Nikki Cross up on the top turnbuckle. She's putting a lot on the line here.
I mean, both women have just left everything in the middle of this ring.
And it's all to qualify for the Fatal 4-Way for the vacant SmackDown Women's Championship at Backlash. As Asuka, could she be setting her up for the buzzsaw kick?
Look at that. I think that's done and over. Not very many people.
Hook in the leg.
And Nikki
Cross kicks out of the buzzsaw kick.
I cannot believe this right now. A maneuver that has put so many women away this late in the match. Oh, but...
And now Asuka going for her signature Asuka lock.
I think this might be it. This might be where we're done. And we are.
Asuka picks up the win here on SmackDown Live. What an incredible match here that we just saw.
I am just in awe right now.
Really felt that it could have gone either way, but in the end, it is the undefeated Empress of Tomorrow that comes out on top.
I am just... wow. That was easily one of the... That is a 5-star match between Asuka and Nikki Cross that we just witnessed.
Well, coming up next, a first-round matchup in the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Tournament. And here are the first ever SmackDown Tag Team Champions in Heath Slater and Rhino.
Right, you know, Slater's got his kids, and Slater's going to slay. Rhino's going to gore, and he is going to dominate. Like, these guys first came on the scene, kind of kicked off the SmackDown Tag Division in recent years, and they're back wanting to regain those titles.
And they'll be taking on the Hype Bros and Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder, a former United States champion here in WWE.
So, I mean, very well decorated team here, going up against the Hype Bros with Zack Ryder, of course, as you said, former United States champion. Mojo Rawley, in his own right, you know, won the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania this past year,
and got help from Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski to win the prestigious Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
And so, I mean, you know, both of these men have things. All four of these men have accomplishments and accolades that they can celebrate, and it's going to be a very interesting and very even playing field between these four men.
Should be a very exciting tag team matchup here tonight on SmackDown Live. The winner will move on to round 2 of the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Tournament. And we have one more. We have one more qualifying match for the Fatal 4-Way coming up later on SmackDown Live. It'll be Becky Lynch taking on, or Paige rather, excuse me, taking on Peyton Royce.
And that is going to be a wonderful match. A former women's champion versus one of the newcomers from NXT.
And Paige being out of Raw and SmackDown for over a year, making her triumphant return on TV. As these two teams just going back and forth now, trying to move on to round 2 of the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Tournament. As Slater goes for the cover on Zack Ryder, and Zack Ryder kicks out at 2.
And it's interesting right now because, you know, Slater had the advantage, and he's also in enemy territory. Now finally getting Ryder over into his own corner there. Rhino coming into play off the tag.
Making a very wise tag there to his fresh partner Rhino, as Rhino now goes for the cover on the former United States champion, and Zack Ryder kicks out at 2.
And what is Zack Ryder there with a beautiful tornado DDT?
Very nice tornado DDT to the veteran Rhino, as Zack Ryder will be making a tag to his partner Mojo Rawley, who got called up to the main roster in last year's WWE
You want
draft.
to talk about a guy who is always hyped. Right, look at this man. Constant movement.
But the thing is, even though he's hyped, he always stays focused as Rhino kicks out at 2.
And that's the, I think, the very important thing there for him. Is on this team, on the hype bros side of things, you have power and you have experience.
And the power, Rhino is definitely showcasing that now as Mojo Rawley counters. Rhino, oh, with a nice gut-wrench suplex.
I mean, and Rhino really showcasing his power in his own right before making that tag to Heath Slater. You know, really kind of tossing Mojo Rawley around.
And Slater trying to get back into the matchup here. And Mojo Rawley knocks Heath Slater off the top turnbuckle.
So he went the wrong direction at the wrong time. Rawley just kind of popping back up after that pin attempt. And just kind of staring at Slater. Slater kind of found himself getting caught.
There's Mojo Rawley. Oh, Slater with a counter. And Slater with a big chop.
Slater now really getting fired up.
And Heath Slater last year had to fight for his kids, but it all paid off, again with him and Rhino becoming the first ever SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
I'd say after the draft, oh, Slater.
Slater going for the cover on Mojo Rawley. Is this it? No, he kicks out at 2.
I mean, you know, Slater took a negative of not being drafted in the draft and really just, look at that, planning Mojo.
Is this going to be it for Slater and Rhino to move on? No. Zack Ryder wisely breaks up the pinfall attempt. And Heath Slater showing his athleticism there.
Slater's got to be careful here, though, as Ryder really did the smart thing, as not only did he break up the pin attempt, he also got rid of Rhino temporarily. So Ryder and Mojo in a really good position. Oh, and a straight right hand.
With Heath Slater on the corner there. And Raleigh
gets planted.
He absolutely does, and Rhino breaks up the count.
At least Rhino was able to get back, back into play there before Slater was pinned. Slater definitely in trouble as he finds himself in enemy territory.
As he makes the tag here. And, oh, with a big-time Rough Rider to Heath Slater. And Slater kicks out at 2, and the ref is down. But he wisely gets back up.
That is one resilient ref. Poor fella got bowled over there by men much bigger than he is.
And Rhino again showing off the unbelievable power.
Especially for a man who's been doing this for a very long time. Rhino has stayed in phenomenal shape throughout his career.
Absolutely, going back to the ECW days, a former hardcore champion here in WWE. Again, one half of the first ever SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And now back. He's been back in WWE for over a year. And Rhino with an over-the-head belly-to-belly suplex. Could Rhino be looking for it? He's looking for his famous gore, gore, gore.
And that, I think, is all she wrote.
That should be it. Yes, Heath Slater and Rhino advance.
Yeah, after that gore connected, I mean, poor Ryder, I don't think knew where he was.
And Heath Slater and Rhino move on to the second round of this great tournament.
Now you want to talk about two top-tier teams between the Hype Bros. I mean, just look at that punch from Raleigh. Both teams left it all in the ring. Rhino just connecting with that gore at the right time, moving on in the tournament.
Looking to become two-time SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And coming up next is the next round. Is a first-round matchup, rather, in the WWE Championship Tournament. Bobby Roode taking on Johnny Gargano.
And you want to talk about, two guys who are looking to make names for themselves and climb the ranks quickly. Johnny Gargano, formerly of DIY, back in NXT, held the tag team titles with Tommaso Ciampa. Bobby Roode, former NXT, where he won the NXT championship. I feel like Gargano has more to prove tonight as a single competitor, but he's known as Johnny Wrestling for a reason. And I think that is what he is here to prove tonight, is exactly why he is Johnny Wrestling.
And Johnny Gargano was part of one of the greatest matches in the history of NXT back at NXT TakeOver Toronto, when he and Tommaso Ciampa took on the Revival in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the NXT Tag Team titles.
And you want to talk about two teams that were able to just tear the house down that night. DIY and the Revival took each other to the extreme and to the limit. And that's as teams. Even in singles action, the amount of abuse that every man took was truly amazing.
And here comes the former NXT champion, the glorious one, Bobby Roode.
A man who simply is looking to be adding on to his already growing legacy. Bobby Roode, truly a glorious competitor, looking to become WWE champion.
Just the mere presence of him with his entrance, the way he carries himself and everything, he's definitely going to be, I believe, one of the top stars here on SmackDown Live.
Out of everybody in this tournament, if I had to go, who is going to win the entire thing, there's only two competitors that come to mind, and both of them have first round matches tonight, and that is Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yes, that is our main event. Definitely a dream match in a lot of fans' minds, and I think the Pepsi Center here in Denver, Colorado is going to be very, very happy with what they're going to get here tonight.
And right now they have easily the hungry younger lions between Bobby Roode and Johnny Gargano in this tournament, and then you have the very much more renowned around the world and almost the legendary Chris Jericho versus Shinsuke Nakamura in the main event.
And winning the NXT Championship most of the time leads to great success as far as singles titles are concerned on the main roster. Just look at Kevin Owens, a former NXT champion. He went on to become Universal Champion. And probably the most famous example, Seth Rollins would cash in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 31.
And so, former NXT champions are the likes of Neville, who's the current Intercontinental Champion. You have Seth Rollins, former WWE Champion, former Tag Team Champion. You have Big E, part of the New Day, also a former Intercontinental Champion in his own right. And the list just keeps growing on successful former NXT champions.
Absolutely. And Bobby Roode, really, I think, should be one of the odds-on favorites to win this whole thing and become WWE champion. I mean, we already have AJ Styles, who beat John Cena last week in a phenomenal main event.
And that's another guy, and that's why I'm very hesitant to just go laying all my chips on the table and saying this is who I think is going to win it. Because guys that are still in this tournament and who are currently looking at in this tournament, you have AJ Styles is going on to the next round. You still have Bobby Roode in this tournament. You can't look past Johnny Gargano. You can't look past Chris Jericho, and you certainly cannot look past Shinsuke Nakamura.
It's a big tournament, and truly, I believe any of those competitors could win. But Bobby Roode has to get through Johnny Gargano first, as Johnny Gargano hits running enziguri, and we'll see one of these two NXT alum. We'll see who moves on in this big tournament.
And you have Johnny Gargano is the guy, as you can see here, using a lot of his speed and just a little bit of more of an unorthodox wrestling style to really keep control over Bobby Roode. And look at that nice over-the-top rope DDT going into the cover. We got a 1, 2, no, not even a 2.
And Bobby Roode kicks out. He's gonna. It's definitely gonna take a whole lot more to beat Johnny Gargano, or to beat Bobby Roode rather, here tonight on SmackDown Live. And we have another Tag Team Championship tournament match coming up for you guys later on tonight. We have The Revival taking on Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane of Sanity. Earlier we saw Nikki Cross wrestle Asuka. She's part of Sanity. Was unsuccessful against Asuka. We'll see if Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane will be successful moving on in the tournament.
I mean, you have a wonderful, wonderful show tonight. Lots of great wrestling. And like right now, these two men in the ring are looking to move on and become the WWE champion.
As Bobby Roode looking to try to soften Johnny Gargano up to try to hit the glorious DDT, which I think will almost certainly guarantee him victory here. And Roode, overhead suplex.
I mean, and, you know, Bobby Roode now trying to slow down the pace, as you can see there. You know, kind of nice overhead suplex, showed a little bit of power, went into the cover, made Johnny Gargano work to get out of it as Gargano takes back over and Bobby Roode rolls out of the ring.
And Gargano up to the top. Oh, and he misses the missile drop kick to the outside of the ring. Talk about a risky move.
That is called high risk, high reward. Unfortunately for Gargano, he did crash and burn there. Gargano throwing Roode back into the ring. Looks like he's setting up. Maybe possibly going for that spear. And oh no, Bobby Roode reverses it. Glorious DDT. And he connects. Glorious DDT connected. 1, 2, and 3. Johnny Gargano is out. I mean, and that was just, you know, the beginning of the end there was that missile drop kick. He went for that high risk, high reward. He missed it. He went to jump through those middle ropes to get back into the ring. He was clearly going to go for a nice DDT, and instead got reversed into a the glorious DDT from Roode. And it just so happened to just not be Gargano's time. Roode capitalized on a mistake. That's simply what it was. He caught him in the mistake, and he won the match.
And Johnny Gargano very, very upset that he blew a big opportunity to potentially win the most prestigious title in sports entertainment, the WWE Championship. But it's Bobby Roode who moves on in this tournament.
Yeah, Gargano definitely looks a little destroyed and distraught over this. But hey, you know what? It's okay. You put up a good effort, kid. Just don't be your own worst enemy next time.
And here comes Paige, making her big return to action after being off of Raw and SmackDown for over a year, dealing with a neck injury, a severe neck injury.
You know, in this line of business, there is a very specific injury that can really just end and ruin careers, and that is whenever you have to have neck surgery. You know, in the past, wrestlers like Stone Cold Steve Austin, Nikki Bella, both came back from neck injuries, and now here we see Paige. And the real thing is, you know, what percentage is Paige at after that neck surgery? How much ring rust does she really have? As you know, it's been a year since we've seen her. How much has she been able to work out in between now and this return?
Well, we're definitely going to be seeing that. We'll see how she fares against Peyton Royce here tonight on SmackDown Live. Again, this is the final qualifying match for the Fatal 4-Way at Backlash.
And you know, the Peyton Royce, the young, relatively injury-free NXT alum, never really held the NXT Women's Championship. Now coming onto the main roster with her friend Billie Kay, looking to make a name for themselves.
And could being non-injury prone possibly help Peyton Royce win this match?
She doesn't have a known target on her the way that Paige does. Paige is, you know, it's documented, it's known that she is coming back from a neck injury, there's a big bullseye on that. And there's, Peyton Royce doesn't have a limb that we know of that is weaker than the other, or potentially weaker than the other. And that is something that Paige is going to have to do, kind of watch out, protect her neck a little bit more. And she's going to have to find a body part to really soften and weaken on Peyton Royce.
Well, I mean, this match already just started several seconds ago, but looks like Paige hasn't lost a step. Trying to get the crowd in her favor to try and win this match.
I'd say Paige really kind of coming into this match, firing on all cylinders, really taking it to Peyton Royce.
Absolutely, all going for the knee in the corner, but Peyton wisely getting out of the way, and Royce goes for the cover, and Paige kicks out.
That was a very stiff elbow there from Peyton Royce, really just taken out. And look at this. Oh.
And Peyton Royce, she's another one who never held the NXT Women's Championship, mainly due to the wrath of Asuka. She's trying to change all that here on SmackDown Live, a fresh start for her. Not just for her, but for Billie Kay as well. As Paige goes for the Tornado DDT.
And Paige really laying out Peyton Royce here. Trying to, again, missing with that knee strike.
And oh my goodness, the Hurricanrana, and Paige kicks out.
And that was a solid 2.5. Like, Peyton Royce really had Paige reeling there. And Peyton Royce just staying on top of Paige. Got to give credit where credit is due.
Yes, Peyton Royce definitely holding her own against a former NXT Women's Champion, the only person to hold the NXT and Divas titles simultaneously.
That's very true. Paige was still NXT Women's Champion when she debuted on the main roster and pinned AJ Lee for the Divas title.
Pinned AJ Lee on her very first night, the night after WrestleMania 30, to win the Divas Championship, and she won it in quick fashion.
She did, but I think that was also, her catching a great women's champion in AJ Lee off guard, and as you know, she just wasn't ready for it. No! The page turner.
And Peyton Royce kicks out of the page turner.
Paige firing all cylinders. Paige is honestly looking phenomenal after coming back.
And Peyton Royce with a crucial counter there.
Oh! That is not something that needed to happen to Paige's neck.
And Royce going for the cover, and Paige kicks out.
Talk about some resiliency.
Absolutely. And Peyton Royce got it. She's got the perfect plex. Is this going to be enough? And Peyton Royce moves on to the Fatal 4-Way.
That was a very impressive match on both competitors' parts. Peyton Royce just being the better on this night.
She beats the returning Paige, and our Fatal 4-Way match for Backlash is now set. I
mean, that was some beautiful Beautiful offense from both women.
It will be Emma, Becky Lynch, Peyton Royce, and Asuka going at it for the vacant SmackDown Women's Championship.
You want to talk about an insane fatal four-way. Those are four very different styles, four very different women. It is going to be a clash of the Titans for certain to crown the next SmackDown Women's Champion.
And here we go with another first round match in the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Tournament. We are having the Revival in action. Dash and Dawson, former two-time NXT Tag Team Champions, and looking to recreate some of that magic here on SmackDown Live.
Yeah, definitely two guys that previously were plagued pretty rough by injury upon their debut on the main roster over on Raw. Both men looking extremely healthy, ready to compete here on SmackDown, looking to make an impact and become the SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
And here comes another team who got drafted over to SmackDown, and that is Sanity.
A team that easily can be considered one of the spookiest and most unorthodox teams or groups in the history of the WWE. As it looks like all four members of Sanity are coming to ringside.
Yes, you got Eric Young, you got Nikki Cross, and the two that are participating in tonight's match, Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane.
I mean, and just look at the size of Killian Dane. And this is a very big man. Sanity is just, I'm in awe of the presence that they carry, bringing themselves up from NXT over to SmackDown. The former NXT Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, they beat what seemed like the unstoppable team of the Authors of Pain back at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, but they did beat those guys to win the NXT Tag Titles.
And to which they held until being drafted to SmackDown.
And coming up later on tonight here on SmackDown Live, we are going to hear some words from the new Intercontinental Champion in Neville.
Super excited for Neville after seeing him win that Battle Royal last week. Can't say that The Miz is probably anything but on the warpath.
The bell sounds and we are underway. Scott Dawson starting things off against Alexander Wolf. Alexander Wolf's partner, Killian Dane, competed in this year's Andre the Giant Battle Royal back at WrestleMania.
You're right, Brandon, and what an impressive outing he had in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
And Killian Dane, I think, definitely has a lot of potential as a singles competitor. We'll see if he'll get that opportunity soon as Alexander Wolf kicks out at 1.
I mean, you're looking at two very, very different yet very the same. You're not going to see a lot of flips or tricks or high-flying moments between these two teams. You're going to see a lot of brawling and just aggression.
Absolutely, as Killian Dane is now in the match, working on Scott Dawson. And Killian Dane panning to the crowd here at the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado.
And now look at this. Dragging Killian Dane over into his corner, trying to get the bigger man away from his tag partner.
And, you know, I think the Revival definitely have the advantage as far as experience goes. Experience in big matches, because they've had a lot of title defenses in NXT, and for them to be in this tournament, I don't think this phases them.
I mean, that's the thing, is I don't really think much phases Sanity, to be completely honest. I don't think anything phases either of these teams. As, you know, they're here to make statements and prove themselves and become champions.
And Killian Dane wisely gets his foot on the bottom rope.
Instead of powering out and really showcasing his strength there, instead he really utilized his brain and just, he knew where he was in the ring, put his leg up, and got rid of the pin that way.
We've had a really great night here so far on SmackDown Live, and we definitely plan to continue all that momentum next week, including with Monday Night Raw, as Killian Dane goes for the cover on Dash Wilder, and Dash Wilder kicks out at 2.
Again, I mean, this is one of those matchups where I have zero clue which of these teams is actually going to, like, they are so evenly matched in their own rights and their own accomplishments.
Yes, they are, and the Revival here, very nice double team move. I think that's the thing that the Revival does better than really any other team here in WWE, including the New Day. They just have so much chemistry together just as partners, and they pull off really great double team moves when they really need to, including the devastating Shatter Machine.
And that's right, Brandon. I mean, the Shatter Machine, easily one of the most brutal finishing maneuvers in the tag team division. Though Killian Dane looking to just use his raw power to put away the Revival here.
Taking a page out of Seth Rollins' playbook with the powerbomb into the turnbuckle. And Killian Dane, see what he does next. What kind of things do you think are going through the heads of both of these tag teams right now?
I think right now both of these tag teams are, they want nothing more than to show that they are the most dominant team on the brand, and there's no other way to do that than to become the tag team champions. I think that right now that's where both of these teams' mindsets are. I don't think either of them are looking past the other team, as they both realize and recognize the accomplishments and the greatness and just the smash mouth grit. And I mean, that's why you've seen Killian Dane.
Oh, what a insane clothesline there from Killian Dane. Killian Dane doing quite a bit of the work here for Sanity so far. As he sends Dash Wilder into the corner and makes the tag over to Alexander Wolf.
That is where you've seen a major difference, as this is one of the first times Wolf has really gotten into this match, as it has mostly been Killian Dane, which is the big difference so far between the Sanity matchup and the Revival, as the Revival has primarily been tagging in and out, whereas Sanity has relied heavily on Killian Dane so far.
Absolutely. And let's see what Dash Wilder could be thinking here as he whips Wolf off the ropes. And oh man, that elbow did not faze Alexander Wolf at all.
Say Wolf just eating elbows.
Oh, he makes the tag. He makes the tag. And he's got the Shatter Machine. That should be it. And the Revival move on in the tournament.
The Revival, the clear winners there. Both teams put up a great fight. Lots of back and forth action there. Some very hard-hitting maneuvers from Sanity, but the Revival were the better team tonight.
They absolutely were. They showed why they were such a great tag team in NXT, and just in one match, I think it's transferred over to the main roster very, very well, and they were able to beat Sanity here tonight.
And so the Revival will be advancing in this tournament along with Slater and Rhino.
Absolutely. And as we look at some of this action here, Scott Dawson with a great DDT on Killian Dane, but in the end, it was Alexander Wolf who took the fall for Sanity.
Yeah, the Shatter Machine is not a maneuver to be taken lightly. And I feel like that is what Sanity just found out and realized today.
That blue-collar attitude of the Revival has gotten them to advance to this in the second round of the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Tournament. Congratulations to the Revival.
Oh. And Paige does not seem to be happy in the backstage area about losing her match.
Totally refused to talk to Renee Young, as look who it is. It is the Scottish Supernova in Noam Dar. Noam Dar definitely showcased his great talent during the Cruiserweight Classic and some on 205 Live, but now he is permanently a member of the SmackDown roster. We'll see what he has planned.
And truly, if there is somebody who can come out and make a great impact, it's going to be Noam Dar. Wonderful to see him over here on SmackDown.
Looks like he has called out the reigning Intercontinental Champion, Neville.
I mean, that's one way to make an impact. Making some pretty big claims there. Hopefully he can back some of those up.
Neville, a former Cruiserweight champion, but he's off to a fresh start, winning the Intercontinental Championship Battle Royal last week and winning his first ever Intercontinental Championship. And it looks like though these two are going to tussle right now. The bell sounds and we are underway.
And it looks like Noam Dar is going to get what he wished for, as he's going to go one-on-one with Neville tonight. Hopefully he won't bite off more than he can chew here.
And a win here from Noam Dar, it could certainly put him in the race to win the Intercontinental Championship away from Neville, but he has to win this match, I think. And one thing I have to give Neville credit for is that he's definitely added some things to his arsenal ever since becoming the king of the cruiserweights, including the devastating Rings of Saturn submission hold.
To say that he is anything other than an ever-growing champion and an ever-growing performer would be an understatement. Neville right now is at the top of his game, and I'm not even sure that he's reached his peak.
No, I don't think he's reached his peak either. He definitely has a whole lot in the tank, but we have not seen it yet. I'm almost certain that we're going to see it at some point in this Intercontinental Championship reign as Neville goes for the cover and Noam kicks out.
And I mean, the thing that Noam Dar has to look out for here is he's definitely, you know, one of the youngest members of the roster, but he clearly has to remember not to, go beyond his means before he's ready. He's still definitely young and learning in this industry, and taking on a competitor like Neville and calling out the Intercontinental Champion definitely takes guts, but hopefully he's able to back that up.
Absolutely, and coming up next is our main event here on SmackDown Live, a matchup in the WWE Championship Tournament. Chris Jericho taking on Shinsuke Nakamura in the first round. And an enziguri there from Neville. Nice snapmare. Oh, and a kick to the spine of Noam Dar.
I mean, these two, Neville has primarily been in control of this match, but Noam Dar's really not showing a nice flurry of offense here, as Neville plants Noam Dar.
As he drags Noam Dar, could Neville be doing what I think he's going to do? And no, he is not going for the red arrow. Instead, he's going for the submission hold I was alluding to. The Rings of Saturn. The Rings of Saturn. Is Noam Dar going to tap out? And Neville picks up the win.
Poor Noam Dar just could not hang with the king.
Again, Neville thought twice about going for the red arrow, but I think he wanted to deliver a more devastating devastating punishment to his opponent, and he did so with that grueling submission hold.
I mean, and that is, Neville is not somebody to be trifled with or taken lightly, and he proved that right there. I mean, he locked in that submission at Rings of Saturn, and Noam Dar had no other choice. He had two choices. His arms could be broken, or he could tap out. The man lived to fight another day.
But he is the king, maybe the king of the cruiserweights, but he is the king of the Intercontinental Championship.
Bring me my crown!
And wait a minute, it's The Miz! The former Intercontinental Champion, skull-crushing finale!
And that's one way to let somebody know that you're still coming for them.
And here comes a former 6-time world champion and the only man to defeat Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock in the same night to become the undisputed champion. It is Chris Jericho.
I mean, this is the main event I think we've all truly been waiting for. As you alluded to, the first ever undisputed champion, Chris Jericho, versus the artist, the rock star, Shinsuke Nakamura, who is not only a major star from Japan, but also a former 2-time NXT champion.
And Shinsuke Nakamura definitely has all of the tools to become a WWE champion here on the SmackDown brand. But first, he'll have to go through really one of the greatest superstars in WWE history, Y2J Chris Jericho.
And both of these men, neither can look past the other. This is really where one of them, this is where focus has to happen if you want to be able to go on in the WWE Championship Tournament.
And here comes the artist, known as Shinsuke Nakamura, the former, like you said, the former 2-time NXT champion, and looking to take it one step closer to win the prestigious title in sports entertainment, the WWE Championship. And one factor that, we've never really talked about tonight, we talked about it a lot last week, was that Brock Lesnar, the former Universal Champion, now over here on SmackDown, taking himself out of the tournament.
Yeah, the fact that he took himself out of the tournament, which actually got Baron Corbin, further into the tournament as he had to face Enzo Amore and ended up completely dominating the poor fella as a last-minute replacement. But so that really has to leave you wondering, what's Brock thinking, and what is Brock's next move after this tournament's over?
He's probably just going to scout all of the talent that is still in this tournament, and whoever ends up winning the championship, I'm almost certain Brock Lesnar will be the first one wanting to get a title shot.
And so, I mean, you're looking at a very stacked SmackDown roster that's very hungry with no champion. Everyone thinks that they deserve it. And tonight we're going to find out, at least a step in the direction of finding out who truly has earned it.
And as our general manager Daniel Bryan has said, SmackDown Live is the land of opportunity, and everyone is trying to make the most out of that opportunity, including the 4 women who will be in the SmackDown Women's Championship match, and including these 2 amazing competitors trying to move on to round 2 of the WWE Championship tournament. This should be a dandy here tonight on SmackDown Live.
Definitely the pinnacle of our night, Brandon, and truly worthy of main eventing WrestleMania, let alone SmackDown Live.
And this contest will get underway momentarily here from a sold-out Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado, home of the NBA's Denver Nuggets. And earlier tonight, Bobby Roode advanced into the tournament, and we'll see here, collar and elbow tie-up. And neither side will not let go. But look at Nakamura. We've seen this from him before in NXT, telling his opponent to bring it.
And if there's a guy on any given night who could bring it to Nakamura, it would be Chris Jericho.
Even at age 47, Chris Jericho still has all the tools needed to be a great superstar here in the WWE. A superstar that could potentially go on to win the WWE Championship. As Jericho goes off the ropes, and oh, what a move. He's got Nakamura hung up on the ropes and a kick right to the face.
And this is going to be... Both of these men are capable of great technical wrestling. Nakamura is the king of strong style because that's how hard he can hit you.
And a step up, very nice step up enziguri there from Y2J. And Chris Jericho just got finished publishing one of his many books titled "No is a Four-Letter Word," available in bookstores everywhere. As Nakamura, oh, with a knee drop. They call this man the king of strong style for a reason. You definitely do not want to get into a slapping matchup or a kicking matchup or anything that Shinsuke Nakamura will throw at his opponents.
Yeah, to say that Jericho is holding his own and that he's actually considered the underdog of this match just shows you how good of a competitor Nakamura really is.
Absolutely. Jericho with a running bulldog he hit a couple of moments ago. And really, so far, it's been back and forth here in this first round matchup.
Yeah, so far, a lot of showmanship. Neither man really taking advantage. I feel like Jericho got a little too cocky for his own good there.
And a kick right to the gut of Chris Jericho. And a kick, oh my goodness, to the back. There's a second knee drop from Nakamura as Nakamura goes for the cover and Jericho kicks out at one.
And right now, Nakamura is definitely starting to build up some momentum and get in control of this match. Jericho needs to get ahead of this runaway train before it's a little too late.
Absolutely. And oh my goodness, yet another knee right to the chest and stomach of Jericho. Nakamura again telling his opponent to get back up.
Went for that knee and Jericho countered.
And Jericho, he's got to roll Nakamura on his belly for the Walls of Jericho. And Nakamura wisely gets to the ropes. That would have been really bad news for Shinsuke Nakamura. And Chris Jericho looking for the code breaker. He got the code breaker. Could this be enough for him to move on? The cover. And a kick out at 2.5.
That was
Shinsuke Nakamura.
That was another case of 2.95. That was almost a 3 count.
Absolutely phenomenal resiliency from Shinsuke Nakamura. As Nakamura. Ooh. Nakamura could be softening up Chris Jericho for the Kinshasa.
Say Nakamura definitely. I think playtime is over for both of these men. They've both kind of been striking at each other. A nice suplex coming here from Jericho this late in the match.
Come on, baby!
And now Jericho firing up on all cylinders. Really handling.
Jericho going up to the top.
Big axe handle.
And Jericho, Lion Salt. The Lion Salt. He's finished some opponents off with this move. And Nakamura kicks.
Most impressive.
What an amazing match that we are seeing here in our main event. Telling Nakamura to get back up. And he countered. Nakamura countered. Could he be setting it up? Got him with the Kinshasa. The Kinshasa. Will this be enough? Chris Jericho kicks out.
Both of these men, Brandon, have just completely destroyed one another. I'm not even sure what's left in the arsenal, let alone what's left in the tanks.
Absolutely incredible. And from the top rope, a top rope Kinshasa. Is he going for it yet again? He will nail. No. I think he got it.
He completely just took off Chris Jericho's head 2 times in a row.
He got all of it.
Slowly rolling Jericho over into the cover.
Hooks the leg. Nakamura moves on.
There was just nothing left to give for either competitor. That lived up to the hype. That main event was exactly what SmackDown Live is all about.
That match 100% did live up to the hype, and you have the artist, Shinsuke Nakamura, moving on to round 2 of the tournament for the ever-prestigious WWE Championship. We thank you for joining us. Good night, everybody, from the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado, and congratulations to Shinsuke Nakamura.